All right, so just so you know, this is the simple square program. It's written using variables, and as you can see, it's working at this point in time. Right, so far what we've learned is we've learned to declare variables and assign them values. And the only values that we've assigned so far are what are called integers. They're positive or negative whole numbers. Okay? So at this point in time, negative 90 is turned left, if you remember. So now my tortoise is turning left. Now, what I can do as well is I can actually put a negative in front of length here, and I can actually make the tortoise travel backwards. How cool is that? Yeah, I know, it's not very exciting, is it? Anyways, so you can put a negative in front of the variable, and what it does is it takes whatever value is in there. So in this case, length is 150, as can be seen here. If we put a negative in front of it, that means it's negative 150. That easy. All right. We can do the same thing with just by putting a negative sign in front of here. Right. So that's integers, positive and negative whole numbers. All right. So remember that, integers. If I put a dot and some 2's after it, that's no longer an integer. That's a double. However, you don't have to worry about that because this is really early on in your programming. You just need to know what an integer is. All right. What's an integer? That's right. A positive or negative whole number. All right. So that's great, but what if you want to hold, say, somebody's name? All right. So again, I can say dim string name, and I can set that equal to Mr. Macri. All right. So that's now going to hold a string. So what exactly is a string? Well, a string is just a string of characters, which are any characters on the keyboard. So technically, I can put in spaces, I can put in lots of different keys, all right? And basically, what these little double speech marks, double quotes are put here for is basically what that denotes to the computer is everything that's in between these two speech marks is what's going to be thrown inside this variable. So actually, not the speech marks, but everything that's in between gets chucked inside this container. All right. So how do I know it's working? Well, one of the things that I can do is I can actually print to the console. And what is the console, do you ask? Well, let me tell you. Just notice I'm doing a right line, and I'm just going to type in string name, str name, and watch what happens. Oh, of course, this here is chucked over top of the console, but there's the console there. Right, so all that's doing is it's taking whatever is inside str name and it's printing it to the screen. So notice that it's printing, there's no double quotes around it, right, because this is the only stuff that's stored inside that memory space. Okay, I'm hoping that is incredibly clear. So this is what's known as a string, okay, a string of characters. Right, hopefully you've got that. So go on to the next exercise, set of exercises, and carry on. You're going to be using some strings and printing to console. So notice there's no real difference between this declaration and this declaration. The only difference being after the equal sign, this has a string and this has an integer. Now, this is going to get harder as we're going along, but let's just keep it simple at this point in time, and just remember that your variable can hold either an integer or a string. All right, good luck.